Why is it that when the water of the Amazon River flows into the ocean, it doesn't turn salty right away? Scientists say the Amazon isn't just a river, it's an entire planet in itself. A river that changes its name, changes its color, and, incredibly, sometimes even starts flowing in the opposite direction. And now, evidence has emerged of a ghost river beneath it, a secret river flowing under the Amazon. One that may have remained hidden from human eyes until today. Once again, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Viewers, did you know that early explorers mistook the Amazon River for the ocean itself? And they had a solid reason for thinking so? The sheer size and power of this river make it hard to believe otherwise. In just 1 second, the Amazon pours nearly 29,000 cubic meters of water into the sea. That's about 1.5 times more than the total water consumption of the entire world in a single second. Volume of fresh water is so enormous that even the next 7 largest rivers combined don't discharge as much water into the ocean. In fact, of all the fresh water entering the seas across the world every second, nearly 20% comes from the Amazon alone. During the dry season, the Amazon is already up to 10 kilometers wide, but in the rainy season, it can expand to as much as 48 kilometers in some places. At that time of year, if you stand on one bank and try to spot the other, the horizon disappears just like it does over the ocean. The opposite shore is nowhere to be seen. That's why locals call it the River Sea. And when early explorers arrived here, they believed this wasn't a river at all, but an actual sea. The interesting thing is that despite being this massive, experts still haven't fully agreed on whether the Amazon is the longest river in the world. School textbooks often list the Nile as longer than the Amazon. However, in terms of volume, the Amazon is far larger than the Nile. According to measurements, the Nile River is approximately 6,650 kilometers long. In comparison, the Amazon is often listed at around 6,400 kilometers. By that count, the Nile appears to be about 250 kilometers longer. But the story doesn't end there. South American scientists later remapped the Amazon source using satellite data. According to them, if the river's true origin in the Andes Mountains, where the water actually begins, is included, the Amazon's length becomes significantly greater than the Nile's. Some studies estimate the Amazon to be between 6,800 and 7,000 kilometers long. Even so, the debate continues. Some researchers still insist the Nile is longer, while others declare the Amazon the longest river in the world. This battle is still unresolved, and there's no 100% final verdict yet. However, when it comes to area, volume, and climatic impact, there's no doubt that the Amazon is the largest river on Earth, as the Amazon flows through dense rainforests. It keeps changing not just its color, but even its name. In the Andes Mountains, where it is born, it's known as the Apurimac. At the Ucayali region, people start calling it the Amazon. Yet along the way, the river actually changes its name 4 times. In Brazil, however, the story is a bit different. There, it isn't called the Amazon until it changes its color. In this satellite image, you can see that at Manaus. Muddy brown water flows from one side, while black water approaches from the other. When these two waters meet, Brazilians finally call it the Amazon River. Even here, the river creates a strange visual. The brown, sediment-rich water does not mix with the black water for hundreds of kilometers, much like oil and water refusing to blend. This happens because the black water comes from the Rio Negro, which flows in from a different direction. Its temperature, speed, and mineral density are very different from those of the Amazon. That's why the two waters don't mix immediately. Farther downstream, they eventually blend together, and the river continues under a single name, Amazonas, or the Amazon River. If we calculate the area of the Amazon River basin, it comes to around 7 million square kilometers. Within this vast area, countries the size of Pakistan or 2 countries the size of India could easily fit, each with its own river system. In fact, you could remove Russia from the map, place the entire continent of Europe inside the Amazon River basin, and still have enough space left to fit another country as large as Pakistan during the rainy season. The river becomes so wide that comparing it to any normal river feels pointless. Perhaps that's why the Amazon is the only major river in the world where no bridge has ever been built across it. What's even more fascinating is what happens when the Amazon's water pours into the Atlantic Ocean. The seawater remains noticeably less salty for a very long distance. There was a time when sailors traveling through the Atlantic would collect water far away from the coast, and use it because the salt content was surprisingly low. So it wouldn't be wrong to say that the Amazon River doesn't just influence the land, it leaves its mark on the ocean as well. Some researchers even propose a theory that the Amazon River originally had its roots in Africa. Millions of years ago, there was a supercontinent known as Gondwana, where Africa, South America, India, and Australia were all connected as one landmass. Over time, the continents slowly separated and the oceans split apart. Even today, if you look at a map, South America fits against Africa like pieces of a puzzle. Back when they were joined, the Amazon River, now flowing from west to east, once flowed from Africa toward the west. Later, as the continents drifted apart and the Andes mountain range began forming in South America, the Amazon's flow was blocked, forcing it to drain into the Atlantic Ocean instead. But did you know that a small modern-day version of the Amazon flowing backward can still be seen today? This phenomenon is known as pororoca. So what exactly is pororoca? When high tide strikes the Atlantic Ocean, waves up to 4 meters high crash into the Amazon's delta. Faced with this immense force, the river water is pushed backward and begins flowing in the opposite direction. For several kilometers, the Amazon River continues to run against its natural flow. This phenomenon, known as pororoca, usually occurs between September and March. Surfers from around the world travel here to witness it. Riding these tidal waves, they surf deep into the Amazon River, sometimes traveling several kilometers inland. Just when the world thought all the secrets of the Amazon had been uncovered, scientists made a shocking discovery: another river flowing beneath it. Yes, nearly 4 kilometers below the Amazon River basin, there exists a slow-moving underground river of groundwater. This hidden river is known as HAM. In 2011, a team of Brazilian geophysicists announced the discovery of this concealed river and named it Rio Hamza, after their lead researcher, Dr. Valia Hamza. Technically, the Hamza River isn't a conventional river. In reality, it's a massive flow of underground water seepage. However, it flows directly beneath the Amazon River, running parallel to it. Both rivers move in the same direction from west to east. Scientists believe the Hamza River originates beneath the Andes Mountains and, like the Amazon, eventually reaches the Atlantic Ocean, but unlike the Amazon, it empties into the ocean deep below the surface. When we compare the two, the differences are striking. The Hamza River is far wider than the Amazon, while the Amazon's width reaches a maximum of around 50 kilometers. In contrast, the Hamza River's width has been recorded between 200 and 400 kilometers. However, the water flowing through it moves extremely slowly, at a speed of just a few millimeters per second. Its estimated discharge volume is around 3,900 cubic meters per second. But how did scientists even discover this hidden river flowing for kilometers beneath the ground? Researchers drilled more than 241 boreholes across the Amazon River basin and installed various sensors inside them. Through detailed observations, they realized that groundwater was flowing below the surface in the form of seepage, moving almost like a shadow, following the Amazon River along its path. Now, let's talk about the creatures that live, or once lived, in this river and jungle. The Amazon rainforest is the world's largest biodiversity hotspot. In other words, it hosts more species of animals and plants than any other region on Earth. But in the distant past, this land was home to creatures so terrifying that modern humans might freeze in fear at the sight of them. Today, we consider the anaconda to be the largest snake in the world. But millions of years ago, a massive snake called Titanoboa lived here. It could grow up to 15 meters long and is believed to have weighed more than 1 ton. Now you might be wondering, how did we even learn about such a creature? Scientists discovered evidence of Titanoboa when fossils began emerging during excavation work at a coal mine in Colombia. The fossils included sections of the backbone stretching up to 15 meters in length. Further investigation revealed that these bones belonged to a giant snake. Radiocarbon dating confirmed that this creature lived during the age of the dinosaurs. Compared to Titanoboa, even today's longest python would look like a tiny worm. Titanoboa was so massive that it hunted crocodiles and giant turtles. Thankfully, this terrifying creature is now extinct. But that doesn't mean the Amazon is safe today. Even now, the rainforest is home to poisonous frogs, whose touch alone can kill a human. There are electric eels capable of delivering powerful shocks, piranhas famous for their razor-sharp dagger-like teeth, and spiders whose venom is extremely dangerous. The Amazon is also home to the bullet antan insect, whose sting causes pain so intense it feels like being shot, and the agony can last for an entire day. Even sharks from the ocean have been known to swim deep into the river. The jungle is so dense and ancient that there are still tribes living here today who have no contact with the outside world, surviving the same way their ancestors did, thousands of years ago. But there's another secret that has only recently come to light: the lost civilizations of the Amazon. For centuries, it was believed that the Amazon's harsh environment made it impossible for large civilizations or cities to exist here. Once again, archaeologists were proven wrong. In the dense forests of Bolivia, scientists discovered evidence that shook history itself. Using LiDAR technology, a type of laser scanning system, researchers mapped the forest floor beneath the thick canopy. What they found was astonishing: massive pyramids and the remains of entire cities hidden beneath the jungle. These structures belonged to the Cassarade culture, a civilization that lived here roughly 600 to 1,000 years ago. They were highly advanced. In the middle of the jungle, they built earthen pyramids rising up to 22 meters high. They dug canals to manage water and constructed straight roads connecting cities' roads that stretched for several kilometers. These roads were so perfectly straight that they appear to have been designed by skilled engineers. Research suggests that these cities were abandoned around 1400 AD. But the question is why? No one knows the answer to this, even today. It may have been a deadly disease, a major climate change, or perhaps a devastating war. The truth remains a mystery. We hope you enjoyed this video and give it plenty of likes and shares. Thank you so much for all your love and supportive comments. We'll see you again in the next amazing video.
And that wraps up today's story. Now we want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments, and let's see how far these stories reach. If this story moved you or gave you chills, give it a like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories. One last thing, rate the story from 1 to 10 in the comments. Your feedback helps us bring you even better ones next time. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you being part of this storytelling journey.